Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Nina Venturella. Our show is produced by Passionate World Talk Radio, whose goal is to entertain, enlighten, and educate. Today we have our next guest. His name is Tom Curry. Tom, how are you doing today?
I'm well, Nina. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am doing fabulous. We are so glad to have you today. And I am just looking at your bio, and I am blown away by your endurance and just everything that you've overcome and just the strategies that you put together. So I'm going to go ahead and just share a little bit about you, and then I'm going to let you just kind of take it from there, okay?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so Tom is a person who has epilepsy. He's learned how to overcome obstacles and use past experiences to build positive lives and business teams as a graduate of Robbins and Medina's training. He's a certified life coach, marriage education, and divorce prevention coach. He's also an entrepreneur, an author, executive sales trainer, team builder, motivational speaker, founder, and survivor of epilepsy. He's looking to share strategies to overcome obstacles and enhance family and personal relationships. Tom, you impress me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have been working together for a while, and your journey and story amaze me, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear more about how awesome you are. If you would just take a few moments and just share a little bit about your personal journey and your story, we'd love to hear it.
Be more than happy to. It has been an interesting journey. When you go through a journey, you don't really think of it as interesting because of all the obstacles that are put in front of you. However, in retrospect, without the journey I've taken, it wouldn't bring me to who I am, let alone where I am today. Excuse me. So just to give you a quick synopsis, okay, I've had epilepsy since I was 12, okay? It's been really, really an interesting ride. Because of the way you had to socially interact, you couldn't because there were just unbelievably different rules. Nobody knew who they were, okay, or what they were. So as I said, it's going to be a quick synopsis. So when I was in my early 20s, or 18, I just decided to leave, and I wasn't for my family, and I wasn't found until I was 20 by my brother.
So you disappeared for 2 years.
Yeah, it was a miss you, bye, gotta go. Okay, because I really didn't know, okay, where I wanted to be or whatever the circumstance. So my brother found me, and he said, listen, we thought you were dead, glad you're not. But there are a couple things here that, we got to get straight. You're either going to come back to the family and man up and do the things that you have to do, or, you're going to just stay in life where it is and look around you, you ain't got much. And so I was at a defining point in my life where it was that choice. I had known that I had hit rock bottom. I knew that I couldn't fall from the floor, so I didn't have a lot of goals. So when I wanted to go ahead and go back to the family, I had to reroute my thought process. And it was through these challenges, because I've had over thousands of seizures. And it's through these different types of processes that I developed my own personal strategies, which I'd rather call survival techniques back in the early part. I didn't know they were strategies. Okay.
Sure.
And as I was going through a tremendous amount of things, only to find out that I had obstacles that I put in front of myself. Okay. And once I started to realize those, then I started living my own dream. I started living my own reality. I started living what was really important to get me to where I am today. And I worked 23 years, okay, in a Fortune 500 company. And I went and started at an entry-level position as a salesperson. I worked my way up into be a corporate recruiter and trainer and regional manager in many different parts of the country. I oversaw and had the beauty of working with a bunch of very, very smart individuals who made me better. But we were able to go ahead and collectively as a unit teach each other. And I found one very key factor is that there's a lot of commonality with failure, but there's also a lot of commonality with strength and success. And it's just a matter of knowing which strategy is going to take you there.
I'm loving your story, and it's funny because we are going through a worldwide pandemic. And it's very easy for people to get into a pity party for one, to a place of, I don't know what to do, I lost my job, I'm not sure which way to go. And it's really easy to just sink down into the mud. And you had many experiences where you have been in the bottom, in the mud pie, so to speak, and you've had to climb yourself out of that mud. And so I would like for you to share one technique or one strategy that you've taught yourself, and I know you've worked with others on this strategy and technique, that you feel would probably be key for the listeners to really grasp and maybe apply to their lives? Just one thing. I know there's tons, but maybe just one nugget.
Sure, and I'd be happy to, and that's a great question. Thanks so much.
Sure.
One of the things that I really latched on to the beginning was to realize that fear and ego, ran, side by side. And your ego could think that you're doing well, but internally fear was just eating you up and having you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so the one thing I had to learn was to let my ego go, because I wasn't that important, and realize that fear was only a symptom I created. And that fear was something that once I faced it, it never was as bad as I thought it was. So I went and I found, through readings that I happened to come across, a definition of fear, by Dr. Wayne Dwyer, that said false evidence
appearing real. Yeah.
and that's how I developed my first strategy. I said, false. And I would look at a circumstance and I say, false. What's false about this? Break it down to its base. I'd say, I got that. So there's really not a lot of truth to the fear I'm bringing in. So there's my false evidence. Now, why am I making it real? Why is it appearing real? Well, it's appearing real to me because it's something, believe it or not, I'm actually comfortable in being in that fear. I'm not putting myself out at risk. So I'm holding myself in this fear. So far it's false. It's, doesn't exist.
Right.
And it's real because all these things I have now accompanied as my own personal truth. So what I found out was fear was something that was just self-made. I mean, we have fear that you have to survive from. I mean,
well, sure.
Guys holding a gun, you should be afraid. But
right.
a lot of our fear for growth, and our personal is normally put up by our own selves. That's the number one thing I learned and I share with everybody.
It's so evident and key right now, again, with this pandemic. We don't know what's going to take place. We don't know how long we're going to be social distancing. We don't know how long some of these businesses are being closed or, minimally open. We have no idea because this is a new normal for us. And I know we've exhausted that phrase 1,000 times, and we all talk about pivoting. But as a coach, you not only have to pivot in your own business, but you have to help others pivot and make those changes and implement those strategies and keep them going and motivate them on a regular basis so that they don't lose hope. How did you come about becoming a coach? And did it start with you coaching yourself first and then realizing you had a gift for it and then other people just started coming to you? Like, what was the journey for you being that coach? And this is good because there might be people listening here, and I'm sure there are because we have tons of listeners all over that are probably thinking, no, I want to be a coach. I'm not really sure if that's the right thing for me. So why don't you address that? Like I said, how did that really start for you?
Sure, I'd be happy to share. I think, and that's important that we started with fear because I had to realize that as coaching myself, I had to overcome my fears. And once I realized that consistency is the name of the game, but you have to realize you're going to consistently fail at times too, and that's okay. That's how you learn. Right. So I started developing a consistent structure of really checking in with myself on a regular basis. Then from there, I went ahead and I had many game plans. But more importantly, I started to realize that relationships were really the key. And how you dealt with yourself is how you dealt with relationships, both business and personal. And I would say that how we are in COVID-19 right now, the language we use is completely different. Because if you're still trying to be at home and run it like a business, that's not happening. You don't have employees at home.
Right.
And vice versa. So you have to really be able to direct your checking in with your own personality. But please watch your verbiage. Watch what it is you're saying. What is the intention? Because we have a tendency to be short-tempered with the ones we love and more patient with the ones we work with. So as we're at home and we're in this new normal, as you say, it's an abused term, but it's really important that we start doing strategies that allow us to be more balanced between work at home as we sit at home, because it's not going to be like this, but let's hope we come out with who we have, but just better.
Right. Yeah, we grow from this and mature from it in ways that we never imagined. And this is something that we can go back and say, hey, we were once there and we've now overcome. So I think anytime that you have an opportunity to overcome something is a growing opportunity. And I think it's something that we really need to nurture and not step away from. So, and I love that about you because you've taken everything you've ever had to overcome and you've learned from it and you've grown from it and you've nurtured it so that it's becoming more of who you are and who you're designed to be. And
Right.
that's exciting. That's exciting to see that and the growth that I've seen even just since we've been working together. And so the other thing I wanted to ask you is you have a program called Endure Through Fear. Would you just share? I know you're the founder of that, and it's an up and coming ebook that you have that you're going to be talking about and things like that. But can you just kind of talk about some of the key points to that program and what our viewers can receive through that program and listeners?
Certainly. The Endure Through Fear is a key title because you only get through fear if you endure through your battles. Okay? And so you endure through your fear. All right? And that's really where that comes from. Regarding the actual program, I like to take people through steps. Okay? And the first is to start to realize who you are. Can you tell your own story and like it? Would you hire yourself? Would you be with yourself? Okay? These are sort of some of the key points that we start at is identification of you. And once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and start having you win the battle within yourself. And those are key pivotal points because if you don't know who you are and overcome your own objections or the objections put in front of you, there is no way that you're going to get to your dream. So it takes a lot of self-digging and self-discovery. And in this program, I have step-by-step strategies that will help you. But more importantly, this is not a course that's structured. Okay, we have structures and steps, but none of us are exactly the same. So the key to this particular course is helping you develop your own game plan. Where is it you want to be? How do you feel yourself getting to that next level? Because when we can go ahead and focus in on those things, then winning the battle within yourself, okay, becomes poignant. It has purpose. It's real. We're not trying to play baseball underneath basketball rules. We know exactly what it is we're after, what road you wish to take. And what I have found is that that's normally the same for everybody as far as the core to their dreams.
Right.
If you don't know who you are, you can't go where you want to be. And the toughest part is setting your own personal goals, of which we do there too. We go through a lot of basic steps. It's not that I'm in a program of which it's dictatorial, okay? This is more companionship, partnership. Because honestly, Nina, as you well know, you have to at least be in partnership with yourself so you can have a positive communication. And that's really
yeah.
And that's really where we start the course. We start the course and help building you. And as I said, there are strategies. Then we want to get into helping you go beyond, okay? And I call that building the waymaker. Waymaker is a really interesting term, okay? If you break it down, it's self-explanatory. Okay, it's a way you want to make. I mean, you want to get to your dream. This is not tough stuff here. So what you want to do is to make sure that you go forward, but how do you create your way? So we talk about winning the battle within yourself more philosophically, okay? And then you get all those things down. Now we're going to go ahead and create your way. Well, how are we going to take the information you learned as you're winning your battle within and practically apply it? Now, so you can go make your own way. But again, you're not going to make your own way. You're not walking alone. You're going to be with groups of people. You're going to be, going through these things that are going to be so life-changing because they make sense. And that's one thing that I really wanted to focus on too. This is not something of which you got to wait 17 courses to finally apply it. That doesn't make sense. So what I try to do is strategies that you use immediately for instant change, but more importantly, lifelong changes. Because it's one thing just to make a change, but if you can't do it, why make the change? So you have to understand why you are making that change. So I go on and on about the course, as you've indicated, but that's just a sprinkling of what the course is.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you're saying. Hearing what you're talking about, I know that you have a specialty with salespeople. You are the sales guru, the sales. So I want you to share, if you could get a sales team together right now, let's just say, what would you tell this sales team with what you're talking about? What would you think would be the best way to motivate a sales team, especially what's going on in our society today? What would be the number one nugget you would give them? And then going another step further, if you can give that nugget, what can they do to apply it today? And this is not just for salespeople, but for anybody that's listening. I really like practical applications, and this show is about interactive keys and techniques that could really help change lives, even after 5 minutes after they hear us. So what would you say would be the best way to go about that?
Okay, part one, salespeople.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did I get them to go with today? Well, what I just did is something I would see if everyone could do, and that's to repeat what they just heard. Because if you're going to be a good salesperson, you don't need to sell. You need to be an exceptional listener. So the questions that you ask are based off the information that's given. There's never a sales made when you're trying to sell something, because people can buy a product anywhere. They buy you.
Right.
And that is what I would tell these individuals, and have told people in these classes. You know, we talk about anxiety, we talk about fear, we talk about all these things on why you can't sell and why you don't like to sell. Well, you're selling your life each and every day by selling yourself on, does that outfit look good? You're like, yeah, okay, so you sold yourself, that's a good look. But in a group of salespeople, I actually use that basic understanding. But the key is, can you actually listen? Can you break it down? Do you know? Because that is something of balance you have to take with you. Well, back home, you have to have the same tone. You have to listen. You have to understand. You have to repeat back. So based on what you told me, you have stated that. And if I'm wrong, please tell me. It's okay to be wrong, but communicate with the client or family, because it's based, as I said, there's a strong paradigm.
Right.
And just go ahead and to do that. And so one thing that I would say that you can take away instantly, okay, from listening, because it's really kind of simple. And it's a trade that I use all the time, and it's called 3. So just when you think you want to talk, internally have a clock for 3. 1, 2, 3. It's not that long, but it gives you time to, 2 things will happen. 1, to ensure that the individual you're having a conversation with is done.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's a biggie, okay? And number 2, it gives you time to digest and breathe. Because if you go 1, 2, 3, and you 1, 2, 3, and then, okay, I got everything. Now I'm going to come back out. Because you never want to be aggressive in life.
Right.
It's about identification of values and true self. And sales isn't as hard as people think it is, but you have to listen and you have to be in the moment. And of course, you can't be afraid to ask, for the sale. But you do that in your life every day at home or in anything else you do. You're always asking for the sale. A dentist is a salesperson, if you really get to think about it. Lawyer, and everybody.
Sure.
So I hope that really answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And I'm just curious. I know you've had a lot of clients that you work with. Yeah. Can you give me a testimony of somebody that you've helped and what they've achieved since you've helped them?
Sure, I'd love to. This individual I actually coached from a salesperson to manager and so on and so forth. And he had a lot of things I couldn't really kind of crack through individual-wise. But he opened up a door at one point. He says, you remind me a lot of my dad. And then we got talking about his family. And his father was a colonel in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And so he was kind of a rigid kind of guy. And the comparison he used was that I asked a lot of questions, even the ones that he didn't want to answer. And so when this gentleman and I got talking, I asked him one question. I said, when was the last time, figuratively, you got your nose bloody? When was the last time you took a chance? When was the last time you're willing to step on the curb and take that chance that you might miss the step, but you can get back up after you've fallen? When was that last chance? He couldn't think about it. So we went around many things, and finally he came up with the truest answer I've ever had. I'm afraid to take that step. I don't know if I can get back up because my dad, I said, wait a second. So your dad is your gauge of success? He said, yeah. I said, so if your dad is the gauge of your success, who is starting your success goals? Your dad's not going to be around all the time. You've got to live with you. You've got to get your nose bloody. I said, so let's go through this very important thing right now. If your dad walked up to you at this time and he said, what do you want to do, son? And you looked at him and you said, I want to just be me and not success in your eyes because I don't walk in your dreams. And he goes, I said, what do you think your dad would say? Quite simply, I think he'd be thrilled. So his dad came out here on vacation and he said, and he relayed the story to me, and the father said to him, he said, so what do you want to do on vacation? He goes, I just like to get to know you. I think it's time you need to get to know me.
Wow.
He took the chance. He got his nose bloody, but at the end, the chance was worth it. And he and his dad have a better understanding of where they're both being as adult males now, what their roles are. But they're also being allowed the chance to grow and become friends and thrive in each other's success instead of being so dictatorial as a colonel can be.
What I love about that testimony is it's full circle. It not only helped him in his business, his career, but it helped him in his family with his relationship with his father. And I think that's a really good example of a good coach. It's somebody who's really well-rounded, who can take somebody full circle in all areas of their life. It doesn't have to just be in sales. It doesn't just have to be in relationships. It can be in every area because you're truly changing the dynamic of the person. There's a paradigm shift that happens with these people, with your clients. It sounds like that they're getting this full-on circle of total, complete healing and able to really adapt to the change that is needed so that they can operate in the more optimal level, which I think awesome. You know, Tom, I would love to hear you all day because you have great stories and testimonies. We've talked for so long, and I just love your sense of humor, and you always have a smile on your face. You always make me smile. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, and spend some time with you, I know you have a free gift, so we can talk about that, but how would they reach out to you? What is the best strategy for them to get in touch with you, and where would they start with you?
Well, my website is coachingbynumbers.com, and if you go on there, okay, you can hit the contact tab, and it will bring all my information. You just fill that out. I get it. I'll get back in touch with you, and no more than 4 hours.
Okay.
That is really the most simplistic. Recommend that you get on.
Can you spell it so that our listeners can hear that?
Coaching by Numbers, CoachingByNumbers.com.
Okay, just like it sounds, just in case. You kind of broke up a little bit when you said it, so I wanted to make sure they all got it. We don't want to miss that. It is. And can you tell us about the free gift that you have for our listeners?
Certainly. I want to give everybody a free one-on-one consultation. Now, this is just as important for me as it is for you. Again, this is a program we'd be working together. You have to make sure that I'm right for you, but more importantly, I have to make sure that I can be right for you and what your goals are. So I value everyone's time. I value everyone's opinion in life. And if we're going to do this, I want to make sure that we're right for each other, because it's going to be a journey, and we've got to make sure that we both are going to be up to the other one's goals. And so with that, after that conversation, I have a PDF of kind of a little book of some of the programs that we just exercises and philosophies that you join or not, you'll still have this so that you can go ahead and start creating your own outline. And based on our conversation, that's going to make a lot more sense to you when you have that in your hand, because the conversation will be geared towards you, and these questions and strategies will also be geared towards you.
Wow, yeah, it's free. What more can you ask for, right? And I mean, come on, you're listening to a guy. First of all, if you're looking for accountability, he is the man, because he doesn't take any excuses. I mean, look what he's had to overcome and endure. So really, he's a no excuse kind of guy. And, some of us really need a person like that in our life. Some of us need somebody who's going to keep us, our nose to the grind and keep us accountable. And a lot of times we know what to do, but we need that person that's right by us and helps really pull out the gold in us and really keep us accountable so that we can go to those next levels. And so I'm going to urge those of you who really are needing somebody who can take you to that next level, somebody who's not going to allow you to take excuses because maybe that's one of your big pitfalls, or somebody who is going to just say, hey, let's do this together, partner together, and let's see you succeed. Because I see Tom as somebody who's a win-win. He's successful when you're successful, and I know his heart, and it is so pure and genuine. And you just want to talk to this guy. He's so much fun. He'll make you laugh, I guarantee. If anything else, you'll get a laugh out of him. But I definitely urge you guys to pick up the phone. Not pick up the phone. I urge you to go to your computer and go to his website and fill out a form for a free session, and then get this amazing ebook, so that you can start to learn and practice these applications. Tom, I just want to thank you again for your time. I wish we had more time, but we'll definitely have to have you on again. And I am excited for what's to come and to see you just flourish. I know we're going to see big things from you. So thank you so much for your time.
I thank you very much for the kind words and for you just being you. It's been my absolute pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This is Passionate World Talk Radio. Our show is called Coach's Corner. Corner. It is hosted on our internet platform, PassionateWorldTalkRadio.com. For more information, contact PassionateWorldTalkRadio.com or businessboxnow@gmail.com for more information. I'm your host, Nina Venturella, signing off. Have a great day.